In this video for 8.4, the toString method, what I want to do is start at the bottom here. This is, with apologies, the toString is 8.4 and it starts on page 505 and really only continues for a couple of pages here. And I believe that this is on the very top of page 509. It's the very last thing here in this section. This is an important note. Every class automatically has a toString method that returns a string containing the object's class name, the @ symbol, and an integer. And that integer is usually the object's memory address, but I will tell you that in the first 2 years of Java, that's not going to be of a ton of, or the first 2 semesters of Java, that's not going to be a ton of use to you. This is one of these things that I'm just going to tell you to buckle up and temper your expectations. Really, the toString method is used in a bunch of different ways, and they are used in completely different ways by completely different developers. Some developers use the toString method as error reporting and helping you track down bugs. What you can do is write a toString that gives to you all sorts of information about what is actually being stored inside of your object. So, things like name, things like account balance, things like student ID number, things of that nature, so that you can see what the heck is going on with it in case something like terrible happens, right? So just in case your program crashes, you can help use those toStrings as kind of a text file to help you figure out where something has gone horribly wrong. The way this particular text uses toString is twofold. Number one, it uses it as a down payment on overriding methods, and it uses it as a display for a particular object. So this is my suggestion, is when you are contemplating the 8.4 material, think of it as writing an object's display, so that you have several different ways of being able to call for that object to be displayed here inside of your program. So first and foremost, what I'll tell you is the toString method you can see here is going to belong to a class, right? So that each object is able to call toString, and you can see that it returns a type, and that's a string. So what does that mean? As we come scrolling down here, this is on page 507. I believe this is code listing 8-8. So this is the stock class we're talking about. So the whole example here simply uses a stock's ticker symbol and its share price, and those are the only 2 data elements we're looking for to create an object that is a stock object that derives from class stock. So stock symbol, share price, that's it. And you can see we've got on lines 16 through 20 here. This is our constructor. We're passing a string called symbol, sim, and a double for price, and we're assigning those here. The new wrinkle we have down here is on line 48. This is our public string toString. You'll notice it's not public void, it's string, and it's toString. So this is returning something. So here, what we're saying is, look, we are going to return a string, and what the idea here is to format a display for your users. So you can see that our string consists of, I'm going to call it a prompt, but it's a string, right? Trading symbol, plus, so this is concatenating. So what that is doing is it adding to this string the contents of this string, which is symbol. So you'll remember that's what we just saved in there. So that's the name of our stock. And then plus, so we are concatenating, we are adding to the end of that. The share price, you'll notice the \n, so we are adding to it a new line character as well. We are plus, so concatenating again, and then the share price here. So all of that stuff is being saved into my string str, and then I am returning str to whatever, from wherever it was that we called this. So 8.4 essentially says, hey, look, isn't it great? I'm going to give you 3 different ways to be able to do this. So the first way to do this is we would simply, in a print line, we would have XYZ company, so that's the name of our object, .toString, so that's calling its toString, which remember is really just saying like calling to its display function. And then we would get what we see here on lines 51 and 52. We get this nice little display here. Yay! Let's keep going. Because toString is built into the way that Java understands how classes and objects exist, we can actually circumvent having to make this specific call to the toString method, because Java will automatically call the method for you when an object is passed to a print or to a print line. So what does that mean? When I system.out.println, so if I do a sysout with XYZ company, so that, again, that's the name of my object, Java's going to automatically go, oh, you mean you want me to do toString? And then it's going to, print that for you. Yay! That's method number 2 for calling the toString method. Method number 3 for calling the toString method we would see here, where we would have, again, a sysout. So this is a print line. We would have the stock data is, and we are going to concatenate to the back of that. So just add to the back of that string the display or the toString that exists in our class for that. That's it. So we are going to see toString in much more dense use in Chapter 10. The way it is used here in Chapter 8 is simply as a display. And for the time being, that's okay. It is a display that gives you 3 distinct ways to call it. The first way is the way we're accustomed to, would be to call to that object's class for toString, which again is just, hey, call for a display. Next, it would be anytime we have a sysout, so a print line or a print, Java, when you pass that an object, it automatically calls to the toString method. And anytime we have inside of that same sysout, we have a call to an object, or a reference rather to an object, it will automatically call to its toString method. Variety